Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Comrade Tucker Carlson.
Oh, he's
one of our new soldiers.
He's a horrifically horrible pile of crap. But I heard someone talking about today, the broken watch can be right twice a day. The thing is, though, if the broken watch is right twice a day, you still don't carry that broken watch around to tell the time. You still leave it at home in the top drawer. Yeah, it's still broken. And also, Tucker Carlson always has an agenda for why he shares what he shares. But the thing that I want to show you, Whanau, is I've got a bit more for you than the norm, because I've seen parts of this clip going around a little bit today, and I saw them even showing it on One News tonight. But One News, they didn't show the best of it. As much as I can, we probably won't interrupt this because it's just gold from beginning to end. And so rather than cutting in, I'll tell you, when Ted Cruz says, what does it matter if it's 92 million or 80 million or 70 million? It's like, well, it matters because if you're going to take over a country, if you want regime change, there's probably going to be some pushback, and you probably need to have some kind of formula to work out what you need to do to overthrow the country and then potentially, work out the support of 92 million people. If it was 4 people, you'd be fine. If it was 4 million, it would be harder. So yes, you do need to know the numbers, Mr. Cruz. But let's have a look at this. You'll get a bit of the intro beforehand as well, Raphael. We will give you a good 2 minutes of this so you can see the whole thing.
I have not publicly called for killing the Ayatollah. What I've called for is doing whatever is necessary to stop him from getting nuclear weapons. In the first Trump term, what that meant was maximum pressure. So in the first Trump term, I spent a lot of time urging the president to withdraw from the disastrous Iranian nuclear deal that Obama had. President Trump agreed with me. He did that.
That Iranian nuclear deal, Chewie, that was leaving it so we knew that Iran still didn't have nukes. That disastrous deal that if he didn't pull out of, they wouldn't now today be able to say, we think they're making a nuke, because inspectors would have gone into the places and seen it. That disastrous Iranian nuclear deal that he pulled out of. That Iranian nuclear deal that he pulled out of, which is now possibly putting the world on the precipice of World War III because Trump pulled out of it. So Ted Cruz is taking responsibility for that. Good on you, buddy. Good on you.
And then I urged him to end the oil waivers and to sanction the hell out of the country. And it ended up crippling their economy. So Iran at the time was selling 2 million barrels of oil a day. 1 million barrels of oil a day. When President Trump ended the oil waivers, it cut their sales to 300,000 barrels a day. At the end of the Trump term, the Iranian economy was in shambles. They had massive inflation. I think the regime was teetering. I think it might have fallen. I would use economic sanctions and I would use moral suasion to try to effectuate
if you
regime
topple,
change.
okay.
What a wanky word that is. Have you ever heard moral suasion before? He's probably been talking to Christopher Luxon to get that kind of thing. Moral suasion. So persuasion in a moral sense. This is Ted Cruz saying that. Moral suasion. I just want to put something in his mouth when that word comes out.
I just want to say the idea that the US can persuade through morals, I assume that's what he's saying, the Iranian people to overthrow their regime. America has no standing in Iran. America and its Western allies to put the Shah in charge, who went on a multi-decade orgy of disappearing people and tortures, and that's what caused the revolution. Then they armed Saddam Hussein and pointed him in Iran, and caused the Iran-Iraq War, which was just a meat grinder of trench warfare. They have backed Iran's biggest antagonist, Israel. And I'm no fan of their regime. Obviously the Iranian people aren't a fan of their regime as well. But America trying to help them along the way is less help than they think it is.
Yeah.
Why would they listen to them?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. All right, we'll keep going with this because we haven't got to the gold yet. It's about to come.
Sanctions, and I would use moral suasion to try to effectuate
If you
regime
topple,
change.
okay, so you topple the regime and by whatever means, What happens then?
then
How many
what?
people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's...
And I'll just say it again, it's relevant because you need to know what the pushback might be by how many people. That's why it's relevant. You big bloody Wolverine tryhard, you know.
So
relevant.
remember when America went into Iraq and kicked over that beehive and then spent fucking near 20 years in there, sacrificing their own soldiers and murdering Iraqis in wholesale scores. There's more people in Iran, and Iran is a mountainous country. Like, the idea that America would invade Iran or somehow topple it and it'll be okay is insane. It has always been insane.
I heard half the population. Iraq has half the population. I just Googled it. It's 45.07 million. That's Iraq. And Iran is 4 times the size. Now, I heard that I'll check the stats on that second one. So, yeah. And what I find fascinating is, like, this is an American politician just going, like, the interviewer, and like, I was going to say love him or hate him. Hate him or hate him, Tucker Carlson is asking good journalistic questions. Ask a factual question, and when they don't answer it, ask it again. Media could learn something from this series of questions. No matter how much you hate Tucker Carlson, in this 1 minute, the journalistic gods went on him and gave him something. But he's just sitting there going, yes, I would like to see it toppled. What? What? Yes, you're for toppling it. What?
So
how can you just say that so blatantly?
I was reading a lot of the stories that are circulating around about what Trump might do and what's being said, and you know, one of the things that Netanyahu has said is that Iran is literally weeks away from having a bomb. He has been saying Iran has been weeks away from having a bomb. We've got that since the early 90s.
Yeah, we've got that. We've got the footage.
This just feels like the false justifications that America was coming up with and scrabbling around to find them at this point that sent them into Iraq.
Yeah, we've got that clip. We're going to play that after this. And just so you know, I just had a look as well. Iraq, 460,000 square kilometers. Iraq, 1.648 million. So yeah, it's 4 times the size. Let's
and mountainous. It's not mountainous. Flat like Iraq is.
Yeah. All right.
It's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to.
And my dad's bigger than yours. Yeah. Oh, you don't know.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. They really believe that.
So, and this is the other thing. This is actually a monumental screw up by Cruz. He releases information that the US government had denied the night before. It's just chef's kiss. He's gotten flustered, and now he wants to win the argument no matter what. It's just beautiful.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
we are supporting
This is high
Israel.
stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war
we're-
with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay, we are not bombing them.
Oh, okay.
Israel is bombing them. And hey, why do you do the snide? Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Because this is super high stakes stuff. This is a huge country that borders a lot of other important countries. A lot of the world's energy comes from there.
So
We
let
have.
me
you
ask
don't
you,
want
Tucker,
another disaster. You don't want to be
Tucker,
reckless.
the Ayatollah.
There you go. You don't want to be reckless. Like that is for many, that would be career ending. That kind of interview. That'd be the thing that would haunt someone. I think, unfortunately, Ted Cruz and his ilk are already haunted puppets and husks of them former selves. So they've already gone so far through the bottom of the barrel, it probably won't matter. But it's pretty massive. Now, Chewie, I've got another clip to play. It's exactly what you've talked about because I wanted to bring this whole kind of Israeli thing. But first of all, you want to respond to that at all, or else I can.
Oh, look. First of all, Tucker Carlson's a horrible, horrible person.
100%.
But this is devastating that he was able to do this to Ted Cruz. It's laughable, the positions. Like, go and have a look at the whole interview. Tucker dog walks him around that room for about half hour, 40 minutes.
Shall I read out some of the headings?
He never had the upper hand at all.
So they've gone through, and on YouTube you can do this. We don't do this because I've got enough jobs. You can set up chapters, and I'll read some of the chapters. Why does Cruz want regime change in Iran? Is the US currently acting on its own best interest? Was regime change in Syria beneficial to the US? Was the Iraq war a mistake? Why aren't US politicians focused on fixing American problems? How much money is the US sending to Israel? Does Cruz think it's okay that foreign governments spy on America? How much money has Cruz taken from AIPAC? Those headings goes to that, and that was about 40% of the way through the headings for the chapters that they talked about. So dog walk would be a dog walk. Chewie would be a nice result compared to what he actually did to him.
Wow.
Cruz refuses to apologize for supporting the disastrous Ukraine-Russia war. Why does Cruz think Zelensky is a hero? They do still go into those conspiracy theories. But this is the thing. It's like the Godzilla. Let them fight. And this fracture that you're seeing on the right, I think it's really important to say this because for a long time, I've been saying, since I was doing talk radio, which is 15, 17 years ago, it's always been the right have been on message. The right have been on point. The right will speak with one voice and the left is fractured. What you're seeing in America at the moment, maybe for the first time ever, probably not for the first time ever, but what you're seeing on the right now is fracture. There is the pro-Trump no matter what, and there is we supported Trump, but we're pretty annoyed about this Iran stuff. And there is the first time I remember there being. I was before. I can't remember what his name was, but I think it was a guy in the 90s who ran as a third party. He was a libertarian, and he caused the Republicans to lose. But since then, there hasn't really been mixed messaging from the right, and you see it here in New Zealand as well. So yeah, it's fascinating, really fascinating. Oh, that's good news. I just had a copyright claim taken off Craig Rennie's podcast. Hurrah! Okay, let's go to this thing because Chewie, you do as you always did, and you introduced a clip for us. The heading of this clip is actually
you were ready.
33 years of Iran nuclear warning. Yep. So I saw this. If you want to see a snapshot of this, go to Jon Stewart, his piece from this week on Monday night, New Zealand time, and he spells it out. So basically the story is, for the past 3 and a bit decades, Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying Iran will be able to have a nuclear weapon within weeks or months. And it's exactly what he's saying now. And he's saying it to goad America into getting involved in a war with Iran. And he's been doing it for over 3 decades. This is Al Jazeera reporting on this with some of the dates.
You've probably heard this line before.
Iran has never given up its quest for nuclear weapons and the missiles to deliver them.
2021.
That's because Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin
That was 2021.
Netanyahu has been saying this for more than 30 years, claiming Iran is close to having
But he does have kind of a cool CD collection, eh? I mean, yeah, love him or hate him.
I mean, it looks pretty unwieldy. I always used to carry them around in a wallet.
Yeah, maybe.
Been saying this for more than 30 years, claiming Iran is close to having
Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. Atomic bombs.
In 1992, as a member of parliament, Netanyahu addresses the Knesset. He says, within 3 to 5 years, we can assume that Iran will become autonomous in its ability to develop and produce a nuclear bomb. 3 years later, in his book Fighting Terrorism, he repeats the same time frame, 3 to 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Fast forward to 2002. Netanyahu testifies before a U.S. congressional committee actively calling for the invasion of Iraq.
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran.
The invasion happens months later.
Yeah.
No weapons of mass destruction are found in Iraq. This is a fragment of a 2009 U.S. State Department cable released by WikiLeaks. Netanyahu tells members of Congress that Iran is 1 or 2 years away from being capable of developing nuclear weapons.
Good grief.
It's 2012, and Netanyahu is holding up his infamous cartoon bomb at the UN General Assembly.
By next spring, at most by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb.
And now, 33 years after Netanyahu's first so-called imminent warning, Israel attacks Iran.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year.
That's despite the U.S. Director of National Intelligence saying Iran isn't building a nuclear weapon months earlier.
Iran lied.
But for Netanyahu,
Big time.
the slogan has been the same for decades.
Madness. Like that's madness. That should be disqualifying to listen to this guy about Iran and nuclear weapons. I mean, I think most of the Western world would agree they don't want to see Iran having nuclear weapons. I think most would say. But to have Israel actually lie about it so much to try and draw the West into a war with them, it's like, and the best way that we were keeping nuclear weapons away from Iran was through the treaty that Trump pulled us out of, or pulled the West out of, and that's been the thing that has kept them incapable of doing the thing that Netanyahu's been lying about for 33 years.
Yeah, so Iran signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran has allowed atomic energy inspectors, UN inspectors, through their facilities multiple times. Israel never has. Never signed, has never confirmed that they have nukes, but everybody knows that they have. They have somewhere between 75 and 400 warheads. So they're the only nuclear-armed Middle Eastern state, and they're one that seems to, on the regular, attack its neighbours unilaterally, because they're bankrolled and armed by the most militarily powerful country on the globe, and nobody ever pulls their chain. Like, why all these stories of Netanyahu saying, well, we did this because they're literally weeks away from having the bomb? None of those headlines preface it by putting genocidal war criminal Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that these guys are the bad guys. And I'm really concerned by the tone of the stories that I'm reading. It feels like the start of the Iraq War. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of stories out there in the military websites talking about, well, if America was going to get involved, this is how we do it, and this is what Iran has done to justify this, and the people of Iran are crying for freedom and they want us to do it. The war drum is definitely beating.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, remember, for the last 3-4 years, America has kind of like, wow, we can't get involved in Iraq, in Ukraine. You know, when they got invaded by Russia, oh, we can't instigate this. We can't, you know, make things worse by getting involved. But here they are, right at the edge, standing behind Israel as they kick open the door. And they were there at the drop of a hat. So those questions about how much money did Ted Cruz get from AIPAC, you know, why would a Texas senator be calling for the invasion of a major oil producing state? You know, it's like watching a train crash in slow motion and nobody's listening.
I tell you what, Quirky, which is a great name, Kiwi, Quirky, it's actually said exactly what I was going to say as I finished up my last rant. Like, I've used this story to my children. If you continually lie, children, then when you're telling the truth, I will struggle to believe you. And Quirky Kiwi says the exact same thing, the boy who cried wolf. And the thing is, if you're talking about nuclear war, in fact, I saw some tweets going past or messages when I said, I think most of us will agree that we don't want Iran to be, but then they said, we don't want any country to have nuclear weapons. And I actually obviously agree with that as well. But when you're talking about something as serious as nuclear war, when you need to be believed, it's really important. If you spent 30 years lying about it, and in 18 months from now, the IDF have actual information about something that's actually going to impact the world, people like us are going to go, okay, so it's been 36 years now, whatever. You know what I mean?
I would prefer that Israel had no nuclear weapons. But in the absence of that, I kind of want Iran to have nuclear weapons, because that might be something that jams Israel back in its cage and goes, well, maybe you can't overfly 3 separate countries without any warning, with any cooperation with any of those countries, to bomb another country. Iran has proved that it has missiles that get through Israel's Iron Dome, which is fucking spectacular.
I get the sense, though, that there's no good guys in this.
There are no good guys.
There's no good guys, which means giving another bad guy or having another bad guy with weapons is, yeah, it's just concerning. Hey, maybe I'll show you this. We are going to get out of here in a minute, but TVNZ did a really interesting piece tonight. I'll have to try and find it, on the Iron Dome. And something I didn't know was at its biggest extent, it can detect and take out things that are over 2,000 kilometers away. It's unreal. I'll let me, is this it? Yeah, this is. Oh, well, should we play it? It's really interesting. I learned something, so I'm assuming some other people will. So this is on One News tonight, where they explain the Iron Dome,
which holds missiles to shoot down incoming projectiles. The first layer is called Iron Dome, which uses interceptor missiles like this one here. Its range is up to 70 kilometers.
I like how Melissa said. I like how Melissa is like this one here. Like it's really there. Like, holy shit, if you've got a missile right there, Melissa, I would move away from it if I was you.
Designed to destroy artillery, drones, and short-range rockets. The next is the THAAD system, supplied by the US.
Just going to say again, that's obviously, though, a Timu missile, because whilst it's trying to get off the ground, it's just not getting anywhere. So 70 Ks, and the next defence zone is 200 Ks.
It has a range of up to 200 kilometres and targets short to mid-range ballistic missiles. Then it's the middle tier, David's Sling, named after the David versus Goliath biblical story. This can intercept cruise missiles and medium to long-range rockets or ballistic missiles. And finally, the Arrow system. The Arrow 3 part of this has a range of nearly 2,500 kilometres. It can target long-range ballistic missiles in space.
The thing that's crazy about that, it's about 100 kilometres to the edge of space. So once they get into their second one, they've got the ability to go into the starting points of space, further into space. This is well into space 2,400 kilometers. I mean, I'm okay, Chewie, you know all this stuff, but I was like, holy crap. Why doesn't every country have one of these?
So that range that they're talking about is as if it just went straight up in a dead straight line.
Yeah.
It has the ability to go that far.
Yeah.
But in actual usage, it's much shorter than that because it will be maneuvering. It'll be burning up fuel to turn and stuff like that.
So it's like if you filled your car tank and you could go 500 k's in a straight line, but if you were driving around the road like this, you might only get 300 k's further away from your original position. Is what you mean?
Yeah, similar thing.
But I also just think about 2,500 k's. How the hell does it even? The system obviously then picks it up when it's 20,000 k's away, tracks where it's going to be, and meets it. It's just like, you know, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable because it's not going to just wait till it gets to 2,500 k's and then fire, is it? It's going to want to meet it somewhere on the way. So yeah, it's technology.
And this is where we've talked about Russian hypersonic missiles, and Iran has hypersonic missiles as well. All of this protection that they have, Iran is still hitting targets because they're coming in very, very fast.
Well, they also said in this clip that the Iron Dome stops about 90%. So if you're sending 100 very powerful missiles, there's 10 missiles getting into the city. Nick wants to know if we can fire Lux Flakes 2,400 kilometers into space. I'll talk to his people.
Intercepted.
Yeah, I'll talk to his people, see what they say.